Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's Wildcard Wednesday. Really glad that you could join us today. My name is Sue Miller, and I'm a Senior Program Manager here at Geotab and your host for today's expert session. As a company dedicated to innovation, Geotab continuously works to improve its products and services. And today we're going to review what's new in version 2104 of MyGeotab and Geotab Drive and ELD. Our subject matter experts today are Jazz Bethia, Implementation Specialist Team Lead, and Akash Dubey, a Solutions Engineer. So Jazz, you're going to get us started.
Thank you, Sue. Hello and welcome everyone. As Sue said, my name is Jazz Bethea and I'm an implementation lead on the customer experience team. And today I'm going to take you through the MyGeotab updates for the 2104 release. So on today's agenda, we'll be discussing some general updates and updates to Dashboard, MyGeotab mobile app, rules, assets, groups, reports, some other additional updates, and finally, we'll talk about some of the updates in MyGeotab SDK and add-ins by referring you to the blog. So first things first, let's briefly walk through how to check your databases to make sure that you're running the most current version. And to check this, we're going to want to navigate to Administration and then to About, and you'll check your build version, just like you see in the example here. At Geotab, we prioritize data security. We take many measures to do so, including a rather rigorous data retention program coupled with a routine purge schedule for unused information. So the requirements here are that once a customer leaves Geotab, we purge their data on a regular purge schedule. If a customer stays with Geotab, their data is maintained indefinitely unless they choose to remove it themselves. If a reseller leaves Geotab, we would then retain they and their customers' data for 2 years prior to a permanent purge. So for this release, a MyGeotab database will now be permanently deleted once it's been inactive for 2 years. But when we say inactive, what does that mean? And that's a good question. So we deem a database as inactive when none of the devices in the database are being actively billed, and it's been 2 years since the last valid GPS or engine data record. If there is no last valid GPS, then we look deeper into that during the audit process. Once a database has been identified as inactive, we begin to send notifications to the database's listed administrators before we delete it. We send the first notification about a year after inactivity has been identified, so a year prior to deletion. We send another 6 months after that, and we send a notification 73 days prior to deletion, which is about 2.5 months. Then we send a notification right after deletion. If the database's admins would like to prevent the database from being deleted, they'll want to make sure that a device with an actively billed rate plan is added into the database. Another option is for the administrator to make a request through support to extend the retention timeframe. All right, so now we're going to talk about another pretty cool update. Have you ever wished that you could pin or save certain areas that you access in the database most often? Well, now with bookmarks, you can do just that with up to 4 pages in MyGeotab. We designed this feature with the understanding that different users access different areas of their portal more frequently, so bookmarks are specific to individual user profiles. You can bookmark the pages important to you, while other users may use a different set of bookmarks for their own purposes housed directly inside their own user profiles. All right, next up, we've improved the contact information inside the Support tab under Getting Started and Help. Click the Support tab for quick links to access the Geotab community to ask and find answers to common questions. Other options include beginning a live chat session with a support agent, creating a support ticket directly from your portal, or if you prefer a phone call, your dedicated support number. And to make access to support even easier, users who utilize Geotab partner services will also see that detailed contact information listed here as well. In other exciting news, The dashboard wizard is now out of feature preview and available for all users. The dashboard wizard is actually relevant to our new and existing customers. And as you can see on screen, just 3 easy clicks and you're ready to start. So just choose your pillar of interest, select your reports, and then choose your audience. We do the rest for you. If you find that you want to change the report settings, you can do that at any time by navigating to Administration, Report Setup, and Dashboard. Just an added note, Dashboard Wizard is only viewable to users within the company group, coupled with a clearance level that permits report setup. Moving on, we have updates to the MyGeotab mobile app, which now includes a new mobile navigation feature. MyGeotab mobile app users can navigate from one destination to another using the map of their choice. Fleet supervisors will especially love this new feature as they travel throughout their day for things like maintenance and site-to-site visits. Our next is another item which has also exited feature preview and is now available to all users. EV rules, including low charge, charging zone entries and exits with a low battery, and done charging. You can find these under rules and sustainability. We work very hard to create features and products that make sense for your business, and your feedback is actually an essential part of the process. That being said, we would like to take a moment to thank all of our customers who tested the new rules and provided their feedback so that we could implement this improvement. Here we're going to go over an albeit small but very helpful update to the assets page. We are always evaluating ways to provide consistency across the platform, and so with that in mind, we have renamed the Show button, which will now simply be called Filter. In addition to that, we added the ability to filter your devices that are no longer associated with an active rate plan due to having been canceled or terminated in the past. Now for our update on grouping structure. Moving into our first update, driver activity is now a built-in group. With this, drivers can indicate whether their asset-related activities are for business or during their personal time. The business and personal groups can't be edited or removed, and this feature will continue to expand and improve, eventually including allowing classification of trips in whichever category preferred. Please keep in mind this is just a starting point and we will continuously add functionality here. Stay tuned as we continue to build this feature out. Next to updates for groups is global reporting groups. We've now added the ability to share assets with users outside of that group without the requirement to allow full access to the group. This feature is useful for companies who promote transparency and want to share data with all their users without having to provide full access to modify that data. Trip categorization is a new built-in group under the trip detail type that allows drivers to classify their activities as business or personal. So fleet managers will find this report useful for tracking day-to-day fleet operations. And I do want to take a moment to point out that classifying driver trips as business or personal isn't available quite yet. Some other updates I just want to touch on briefly. We've added a new column for provider product description to the fuel fill-ups report. We added an entry to the audit log for when a user updates engine data. So for instance, when someone were to manually update the odometer or engine hours, and when someone changes measurement profiles on the user edit page. We've also added support for bulk importing and unplanned maintenance events, support for the new advanced groups filter in repressed requests, and the material management report and the rules for it have now exited feature preview and are now available by default. In addition, we've added pagination to the users page and updated pagination and the zones page to match the assets and users page. We've updated canned message responses for consistency between MyGeotab and Geotab Drive. The Public Works Route Completion feature and the Public Works Route Completion report are out of feature preview and now available by default. And finally, Public Works routes can now be imported in both CSV format and Excel format. And as a friendly reminder, stay up to date with everything new at Geotab by signing up for our newsletter, which you can do by clicking on the attached link. We also often request feedback on our releases. If you ever wish to provide feedback on a particular item or just feedback in general, please utilize the mygproduct@geotab.com email address and send us anything that you have. All right, so that's it for the updates to MyGeotab, and I'm going to hand it over to Akash.
Thank you, Jazz. Welcome everybody to Geotab Drive updates. My name is Akash and I'm in the Solutions Engineering Department here at Geotab. Let's look at the agenda for today. The agenda today is asset inspection attestation, inspection checklists coming to MyGeotab, cool interactive self-help on Geotab Drive, exception notifications on Geotab Drive with rules from MyGeotab, and a few SDK updates. Our first topic today, asset inspection attestation. Attestation is a step in our asset inspection workflow where a driver needs to acknowledge if the inspection is completed with required regulations. With this update, we are standardizing how asset inspections are attested. For any Canadian drivers, asset inspection attestation will be based on vehicle's license plate, state, province, information as available in MyGeotab. If that is not available, then the attestation will be based on vehicle's location, GPS location, and the company address in that order. Inspection checklists. With our previous release, we brought asset inspection checklist to the DVIR or asset inspection workflow. With this release, we are bringing this same functionality to asset inspections on MyGeotab. So we can see in the screenshot here, the inspection done by a user on MyGeotab will also have these checklists available. Interactive self-help. This is a really cool and a very, very helpful feature coming over to Geotab Drive. In the screenshot, you can see an eye icon besides the asset inspection heading on the page. This new self-help feature is added to Geotab Drive, which allows users to view supporting videos and any Geotab knowledge base articles relevant to the current page. So users can hit this button and view any relevant help for the current page. Please note, this is available on the web version or on the Geotab Drive app version that is 6.0 or above. Improved exception notification on Geotab Drive. Available by clicking on the bell icon at the top. This new events page lists all exceptions generated from an asset that is currently being used. Drivers can hit the individual events to expand them and learn more about the exception. This works when a rule is set up to trigger exception notifications as text messages on MyGeotab. The configuration page in a MyGeotab rule setup, where you can set up notifications and rules, create custom text messages using the notification template, and you can use notification tokens if you require. This is new and improved exception notifications on Geotab Drive. This really takes care of all of the updates that we have at Geotab Drive and MyGeotab. We've got a few updates for MyGeotab as well as Geotab Drive linked in the documents here on the slide. The what's new for MyGeotab version 2104 and what's new for Geotab Drive 2104. And all of these SDK and add-in updates can be viewed through the links on this slide. With this, we thank you for attending our session today. Again, please give us your feedback with anything that you're wanted to learn about these What's New sessions or about the product. And mygproduct@geotab.com again. Thank you, and I will hand this back over to Sue.
Thank you, Akash and Jazz. That was a great update. Really appreciate all that information. We do have some questions from the audience, so I'm going to kick it off with the first one. When is 2104 being rolled out, and when will it be updated in all active databases?
The rollout typically occurs with a quarter at MyGeotab. Again, in the coming releases, we will have a new and improved method of rolling out new versions to MyGeotab and Geotab Drive, which is a news for another Wildcard Wednesday. But with this question specifically, 2104 will come to production databases early next year.
Okay, thank you. So here's the next one. If we do not want customers ever contacting Geotab support, is it possible to turn off all support options so that customers don't see those choices?
So yeah, the options shown in the screenshot that Jazz had, you know, the ones specifically around opening up a support ticket and a training ticket, those are available only to supported customers. So if you're not in support services, your customers wouldn't see those options available. The live chat option is available to all customers, regardless of whether they're enrolled in support services or not. And there is no ability to disable.
And by the way, that is Vic that jumped in on the call. So thank you so much for that, Vic. Here's a couple of other questions that we have. For EV rules and public works, can we turn those off for customers that do not use EVs and public works so that there isn't a lot of extra stuff they always need to scroll past?
Yeah, there's no ability to hide that on the rules page. It is going to be shown there. Whether you choose to enable it or not really depends on the customer and their kind of needs. So yeah, if they don't have any EVs, they can choose to have those rules all turned off.
What is the ETA for the business personal mileage edit capability?
Yeah, so in this release that we're presenting, we're getting some of the infrastructure in place, and we expect to have in the next release, so that'll be the one after this, some options for drivers to actually go in and out of these business and personal statuses. And we're using groups for those statuses just because you may want to add additional options, like maybe not just business and personal, but maybe a third option or a fourth. So that's why we're using groups for this functionality, so that you can go and really customize the kind of flow and the options available. And we expect to have those controls for drivers to go in and out of this in the next release.
Excellent, thank you. Questions are coming in. When you say text messages, I'm wondering if that means on the driver's cell phone number, which we normally associate with the word text messages, or a message that requires the driver to be in Geotab Drive's app.
Yeah, so when we say text messages, we're talking MyGeotab text messages, not SMS. So yeah, it's the MyGeotab version of text messages.
Good question, good to know. Are there plans to fix the violation reporting for when a driver's start of day is late? For example, 5 p.m. We have a client with drivers who drive overnight, and so their 24-hour period does not line up with a typical day.
This may be a case where we need to specifically look at the driver and the HOS logs of this driver. There is a method to choose flexible start of day time, and this is available with MyGeotab, with the Geotab drive for drivers in Canada. So we'll have to look at the specific case, but there is available a flexible start time of day for HOS drivers in Canada.
And what would be the best way to submit a request for this to be looked at specifically?
I think it should go through support, and we can have a support ticket if needed. We can always help with the support ticket.
Can the navigation menu be customizable based on the plan, or can we accomplish this with a bookmark?
So I think we're talking about the side menu inside of MyGeotab itself. That menu can't really be customized aside from the option from these bookmarks now, right? So when we say customized, I don't think that there would be like a specific MyGeotab instance in which everybody in an org had a different organization than the default one, but bookmarks allows you as an individual to organize up to 4 areas inside of the database that you access most frequently inside of your own profile. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, add to that, you know, we are doing a research project right now that I'll just mention for anybody interested, where we're looking at the left-hand menu and ways to potentially improve it, redesign it, restructure it, If anybody on the call would like for their customers to participate in it or would like to give us any feedback, we would also love that. So there's an email address, mygproduct@geotab.com. So yeah, if you want to shoot us an email there, that would be great.
Fantastic. Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up. I don't have any other questions coming in, so I want to just say thank you again, Jazz and Akash and Vic, for jumping on to help answer our questions. So until next time, I'm Sue Miller, and on behalf of myself and everyone here at Geotab, thank you again for joining us today.